Hello, I am Mark Colley. Thank you for watching my presentation regarding our paper evaluating the impact of decals on driver stereotype perception and exploration of personalization of automated vehicles via digital decals. Noble and Baldwin suggest that in appropriating objects, we are not simply personalizing them, we are personalizing and subjectifying ourselves, pursuing our own distinction. We personalize our vehicles via the shape, the color, and even via decals. Here a few are shown, for example of a famous rock group, ornamental ones, a religious one, and so on. Probably you have all encountered some of them, or you even have some of them on your own vehicle. But while there is some work on the contents of these stickers for some countries such as the United States of America or Israel, the stereotypes of these have not yet been evaluated. Additionally, with the current search and research on external communication of automated vehicles and the accompanied attached displays, novel possibilities for personalization arise. Therefore, we first explored the prevalence of decals, then evaluated their associated stereotypes in Germany, India, and the USA, and finally, in a VR study, let participants attach static and dynamic digital decals. To gather information about the current prevalence of decals, we asked colleagues and friends for help. We tried to find parking lots with more than 100 vehicles in as many cities as possible. On these parking lots, we looked for decals attached to the rear of the vehicle, not the side or the front. We were able to gather data in 29 cities in 8 countries, totaling 3,900 vehicles approximately. Most of the cities, excluding Dubai, are shown here on this map. As we are based in South Germany, there's a clear visible cluster there. We coded the size, location, and the category of the decals. We found that 16.7% of all the vehicles found had a decal attached. Most were medium-sized. Regarding their location, we found that most of the decals are attached at the lower left and right part of the vehicle's rear. Our categories were derived from previous work and online shops selling decals. Most of these categories have some kind of affiliation as a major theme, for example sports, religion, nationalism. Despite their reference in the literature, we found no military decals. Almost 10% of decals were advertisements, followed by sports with 6.3%. Some decals were also ambiguous, as for example the elk was categorized into wildlife, but could also express affection towards Scandinavian countries. As we were interested in the associated stereotypes, we designed and conducted an online experiment. This study was guided by the research question: how do decals influence the perception and expectation of car drivers regarding the MDSI factors, where MDSI stands for multidimensional driving style inventory. We used the most occurring decal for non-geographically relevant categories, thus excluding, for example, the category sports. Participants were from Germany, India, and the USA. They were instructed to please describe your impression of an imaginary black VW Golf with this decal on the back by selecting the appropriate options. They rated their impression on the MDSI factors as well as the additional single items: interpersonal relationship, aggressiveness, law-abidingness, eco-friendliness, driving experience, and gender association on 7-point Likert scales. We employed linear hierarchical models with a random intercept for participants for each dependent variable. For reference, the outcome as a table is shown on the right. We found numerous stereotypes that also differed per country. For example, the My Family decal evoked the picture of a younger, more cautious, more feminine, more thoughtful and safer person in the USA. In Germany, the person imagined was, however, older, more friendly and more experienced. As stated in the introduction, the potential of externally attached displays allow for novel ways of personalizing one's vehicle. Therefore, we envision digital decals as, for example, shown in the left video, where vehicles drive on a street with displays attached. While we are not the first to propose these, we were still interested in what participants would want to display. Therefore, we created a VR simulation as seen on the right. Here, a vehicle stands in the middle of a room with a display attached on all four sides. The participant then was able to select either a static or a dynamic decal for every found category. Our study was guided by the research question, will participants want to use digital decals, and if yes, what will they want to display? We recruited 16 participants, of which 5 were female and 11 were male. Participants were rather young. Asked how much they would be willing to pay, the values ranged from nothing to 1,000 euros. This is also reflected in the assessment whether they would use these digital decals. 7 responded with definitely, 5 with not at all. Regarding the locked decals, most were attached at the rear side. There was no clear tendency towards static or dynamic decals. Most of the decals used were humorous. We believe that the absence of religion and family-related decals can be attributed to the sample, as these were mostly younger adults. The biggest mentioned drawback was that the usage of digital decals could distract other drivers. Mentioned benefits are that other drivers could be more easily understood, for example, when a display states "I'm in a hurry." We showed that numerous vehicles have decals attached. We also showed that these carry stereotypes that vary per country. We were not able to show how these stereotypes affect one's own driving style, nor whether these decals are being noticed in traffic. Regarding the causes for these different stereotypes, we believe that the prevalent demographics could be a possible explanation. As described, digital decals could distract other drivers. However, if possible, our study indicated that at least some would like to use these. How such decals could be used for personalization in shared contexts should be explored in further studies. Thank you for your attention.